Welcome back to Superbly Said, Advanced English Vocabulary and Phrases.
And really quickly before we jump in, today's material is actually based on SpeakDuo Lesson 1298.
Right, and you can go to SpeakDuo.com to meet new people from around the world for video calls.
Exactly. It's a great way to build confidence in your English speaking.
Which is exactly what today's critique is all about. We're going to master 8 specific advanced phrases.
Yeah, this is definitely aimed at advanced learners today.
So no fluff, let's just get right into it. Our first phrase is upper echelon.
Upper echelon. I mean, it sounds very formal.
It does. The strict definition is the highest level or rank in a particular group or field.
Right, but I'm kind of wondering, why not just say top tier or, the elite? Top tier feels like it gets the job done.
Exactly, like a top-tier subscription plan. But upper echelon implies a structured hierarchy. It originally comes from the military.
Oh, I see. So it has this built-in idea of rank?
Right. It suggests a very specific, exclusive layer of status or authority. You don't just happen to be in the upper echelon. You climb to it.
You earn that spot through a chain of command.
Yes. So imagine you're talking with your boss about your career path. Instead of just saying you want to be a senior manager, you could ask what skills are needed to move into the upper echelon of management.
Oh, that sounds so much more strategic. It shows you understand the corporate structure.
It really does. And for anyone taking the IELTS test, this is a fantastic phrase. Say you get asked about a famous person.
Right, maybe a film director. You could say, his recent string of masterpieces puts him firmly in the upper echelon of cinema.
Perfect. It sounds so much more authoritative than just saying he's a top-tier director.
It really elevates the answer. Okay, what's our second phrase?
The second one is to take off like wildfire.
Take off like wildfire, meaning to spread or become popular very quickly.
Exactly.
But again, my brain immediately goes to go viral. Isn't that the same thing nowadays?
It's similar, but the imagery is totally different. Go viral is almost completely digital. It's an internet term.
Right, it feels a bit clinical.
Yeah, whereas take off like wildfire has this very strong, intense physical imagery. It's uncontrollable.
It emphasizes the sheer speed and, I guess, the intensity of how fast something is spreading.
Exactly. So in a work context, let's say a marketing team is discussing a campaign. One colleague might tell the boss that the rumor about their new product has taken off like wildfire throughout the industry.
And that happened even before the official launch.
Right. It captures that chaotic, unstoppable energy.
And for an IELTS general question, maybe you're asked about a recent trend. You could talk about a new dance challenge on TikTok.
Yeah, you describe how it goes from total obscurity to a global phenomenon in a matter of days.
It didn't just get popular, it took off like wildfire.
Spot on.
All right, let's move to phrase number 3, on the fly.
On the fly. To do something quickly without a previous plan.
Yes. Now, how does this compare to, say, improvise? Improvise feels a bit more artistic, maybe, like a jazz musician improvises, or an actor improvises a line.
That's a great distinction. Improvise has that theatrical context. But on the fly is highly idiomatic and implies you are doing something while in motion.
Like you're in the middle of a busy situation and you just have to adapt right then and there because you have zero time.
Exactly. Let's look at a workplace example. Imagine your projector breaks right as you start a big presentation.
A total nightmare scenario.
Truly. But you could tell your boss later, I had to adjust the presentation on the fly because the tech failed.
Which makes you sound incredibly adaptable. You didn't panic, you just handled it on the fly.
Right. And for a general conversational example, or an IELTS speaking prompt about solving a problem, you could use this playfully.
Oh, like when you think of the perfect comeback during an argument, but it's 3 hours later?
Exactly. You could say, I'm the king of thinking of the perfect comeback when I'm already in bed. But I really wish I could come up with answers on the fly during the actual argument.
That is such a natural, relatable way to use it.
Let's transition to phrase 4, a lost art.
A lost art. A skill or practice that is no longer common or valued as it used to be.
Now, this one is interesting. How is it different from just calling something obsolete or old-fashioned?
Well, obsolete just implies it's not useful anymore. Like floppy disks. Nobody is sad that floppy disks are gone.
Right. But a lost art carries this sense of nostalgia. It implies value.
It's something beautiful or good that we are genuinely sad to see disappear.
Exactly. So at work, a boss might praise an employee for writing a highly detailed, thoughtful report, or maybe sending a handwritten note to a client.
The boss could say, taking that level of personal attention is really a lost art in this age of quick emails.
It's a huge compliment. And in an IELTS test, if they ask you about a skill you wish you had or something you're surprisingly good at,
You could definitely talk about handwritten thank you notes, or even something like navigating a city without a GPS.
yes, you'd say relying on physical maps is a lost art these days. It shows a deep appreciation for the skill.
I love that one. Okay, what is phrase number 5?
Phrase 5 is give way to.
Give way to, meaning to be replaced by something else, or to retreat so something else can take over.
Now, the comparison here is with the phrase replaced by.
Replaced by feels very sudden and very mechanical.
It does. I swapped out part A for part B, but give way to is so much more poetic.
It suggests a process of yielding, almost like one era is fading out as another one rises.
Like winter giving way to spring.
Exactly.
So in a strategic business meeting discussing market trends, you wouldn't just say new ads replace old ads. You'd say traditional advertising is slowly giving way to influencer marketing.
It shows the transition of power. It's not an overnight switch. It's an evolution.
And for an IELTS tech question, you could say the old, bulky flip phones eventually gave way to sleek touchscreens.
Or how physical books might eventually give way to e-readers. It adds a really nice, sophisticated tone to the sentence.
It really does. Moving on to number 6. Preoccupied with.
Preoccupied with. To be so engrossed in thought about something that you ignore other things.
Let's compare this to being distracted by.
Distracted by usually comes from the outside, right? Like a loud noise or your phone buzzing.
Exactly. Distraction is external, but being preoccupied is internal.
It's a mental state.
Right. It's a state of deep worry or obsession that just blocks out the rest of the world.
So if a colleague asks why you missed a detail in a meeting, saying you were distracted sounds a bit unprofessional.
But if you say, I apologize, I was so preoccupied with our upcoming deadline that I didn't catch that question.
That frames it completely differently. It shows you were deeply focused on work, just a different aspect of it.
Exactly.
And for a lighter example, maybe talking about a friend. You could say he was so preoccupied with his food, he didn't even hear me walk in the room.
Or I was so preoccupied with thinking about what to have for dinner that I completely messed up my lunch order.
Relatable. All right, phrase 7, cultural staying power.
Cultural staying power, the ability of something to remain popular for a long time.
The obvious comparison here is longevity,
Right, but longevity just means it survives. A rock has longevity.
but it doesn't have cultural staying power.
Exactly. Staying power implies genuine relevance. It means the thing we're talking about is still discussed, referenced, and actually matters to society years later.
So in a product development meeting, a manager might say, we don't just want a quick hit.
Right. We want to design a brand with genuine cultural staying power. We want people to care about this in 10 years.
And in pop culture, if you're talking about movies or TV shows for IELTS,
You'd say a show like Friends has incredible cultural staying power.
or even internet memes. Some memes are just so relatable they refuse to die. They have cultural staying power.
Exactly. They stay relevant. Which brings us to our final phrase, number 8. By and large.
By and large, meaning generally, on the whole, or considering everything.
We use this instead of saying mostly or usually.
Because mostly is just the simple measure of frequency.
Right. By and large is used to summarize a complex situation. It sounds much more formal and decisive.
It's like you're concluding an evaluation.
Exactly. So in a performance review or a project post-mortem, you might say, there were a few minor glitches, but by and large, the launch was a massive success.
It tells people that despite a few small issues, the big picture is overwhelmingly positive.
And for a casual question, say someone asks if you're a sweet or salty person.
You'd answer, by and large, I prefer salty snacks like chips over chocolate.
It's a great way to give a definitive answer while acknowledging there might be exceptions.
All right, that's all 8 phrases.
But before we wrap up this critique, we need to make sure these actually stick.
Yes, it's time for a quick quiz to test your retention.
So here's how this will work. My co-host here will read a sentence with a blank.
And I'll give you 3 options: option A, option B, and option C.
I'll jump in to repeat the phrase and give you a little context to jog your memory.
Now, feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer. We will provide the answer immediately after we read the options.
Let's get into it.
Question 1. The brilliant architect's innovative design swiftly elevated her to her highly competitive profession. Option A, upper echelon. Option B, hidden summit. Option C, highest stage.
We are looking for that structured hierarchy, that highest rank. Upper echelon, hidden summit, highest stage. Pause if you need to.
And the answer is option A, upper echelon.
Right, because it denotes that specific exclusive layer of status we talked about.
Question 2. The controversial rumor regarding the CEO's unexpected resignation throughout the entire corporate headquarters. Option A, burst out like thunder. Option B, took off like wildfire. Option C, swept up like cyclones.
Think about something spreading with intense, uncontrollable speed. Burst out like thunder, took off like wildfire, swept up like cyclones.
The correct answer is option B, took off like wildfire.
Exactly. It perfectly captures that rapid physical spread of information.
Question 3. Due to the sudden failure of the teleprompter, the experienced presenter had to rewrite her speech entirely. Option A, in the jump. Option B, at the leap. Option C, on the fly.
Doing something quickly in the moment without a previous plan, in the jump, at the leap, on the fly.
The answer is option C, on the fly.
Adapting to a lack of time while already in motion. That's doing it on the fly.
Moving to question 4. In today's fast-paced digital age of instant messaging, writing eloquent, handwritten correspondence is considered option A, a lost art, option B, a past craft, option C, a dead skill.
A skill but is no longer common, but is still highly valued and beautiful. A lost art, a past craft, a dead skill.
It is option A, a lost art.
Right, it carries that necessary sense of nostalgia.
Question 5. As the harsh winter weather eventually faded, the barren and frozen landscapes began to the vibrant spring wildflowers. Option A, break apart for. Option B, give way to. Option C, part aside for.
Retreating so something else can take over. A transition. Break apart for, give way to, part aside for.
The answer is option B, give way to.
It implies that poetic process of yielding. Winter giving way to spring.
Question 6. The anxious project manager was so the upcoming deadline that he completely ignored his team's very valid concerns. Option A, concentrated upon. Option B, fixated around. Option C, preoccupied with.
Being so internally engrossed in thought that you ignore your surroundings. Concentrated upon, fixated around, preoccupied with.
The correct choice is option C, preoccupied with.
Yes, it captures that deep mental state of obsession or worry.
Question 7. While many internet trends fade into obscurity within a matter of weeks, a rare few demonstrate genuine, option A, cultural staying power, option B, societal holding force, option C, popular lasting impact.
The ability to remain popular and relevant for a long time. Cultural staying power, societal holding force, popular lasting impact.
It's option A, cultural staying power.
That long-term relevance that goes beyond just existing.
And our final question, number 8. There were a few minor technical glitches during the early part of the broadcast, but blank, the event was a resounding success. Option A, on and about. Option B, by and large. Option C, all and whole.
A formal, decisive way to say generally or on the whole. On and about, by and large, all and whole.
The answer is option B, by and large.
A perfect summative phrase to conclude an evaluation.
Well, that wraps up the quiz.
Just to recap, mastering these 8 phrases like upper echelon, taking off like wildfire, and doing things on the fly can truly elevate your English from intermediate to an advanced, native-sounding level.
Absolutely. And as a reminder, don't just listen to this critique. Head over to the SpeakDuo app or website to actually practice these specific idioms in your next conversation.
Right. Real practice is how you build that cultural staying power in your own vocabulary. Thanks for joining us for today's critique. Keep practicing, and we will see you next time.